pull those up. We'll find out exactly who has made it to day 2. And what is that 28? Oh my God.
No.
No way.
No.
way. There's a 4-way tie at 28, and
Asa's out.
Jason Java lose out.
Oh, God, and we've been able to take 27 to the bank in this format for so long, but it feels like you just had a huge point skewing that threw it all off.
God.
That
Also,
is...
Bert getting second place was so big because we said top 3, right?
Yeah.
He would have been in the 28 tiebreaker in a 5-way. Also, like, Kuramex going 6th instead of 7th also was like a really big deal because that almost mattered for him as well. Like, this could have been super ugly of a finish where we could have had like a 6-way tie for that last few spots. Holy moly.
And Asa, you know, I was even talking about thinking Asa was just through on the 28 because it was like 27. I mean, he might have the tiebreakers, but 28 he's in for sure, right? No. Asa ends up being out. DQA and Robin grabbed those last 2 spots. And I mean, Chalky with it. I guess we should talk about this side of it too. Chalky with a 39-point day 1, going to be going in with those extra 3 points tomorrow. It's so impactful to have these extra points. I mean, Bryce, what does it do to your mental when you're going into day 2 with just 3 extra points?
I mean, I assume it feels pretty good to go into day 2 with 3 extra points. At the very least, if you wind up in, you know, what would have been original kind of this tiebreaker, brutal situation, you can feel really confident that you're going to be in. I feel so bad for Asa and Jason. I mean, missing out on 28 points. I feel like you go into today thinking 28 points is my goal. I'm going to build a game plan around that. I'm going to play my final lobby around that. This is just so brutal to have multiple 28-point players falling short. And then I also have to shout out Omday, a player that I've never watched before, but I'm excited to get to watch play as a lot of people have been hyping him up. He had such a terrible start to today. He was like the 7th, 8th in his first 2 games, and he was dead last. And he has made an unbelievable comeback here to wind up at 31 points and, you know, in the top 8. So really impressive mental fortitude from him.
I mean, I guess Gangly was right. Gangly was right. This guy's a bit of a beast, and he's here. I know, Frodan, I know you were saying you're trying to defend that, but I think at this point, Gangly's got one on us, and we'll see if that continues on day 2. But of course, we're going to be trying to set up an interview with Chalky to be able to talk to him a little bit before we head into day 2. Before, though, I've been talking about Fantasy TFT all day, so let me talk a little bit about how does Fantasy TFT work. You know, each player will trade based on how likely you think that player is to win or finish 8th, and the shares of the winning player is going to be valued at $100. Shares of losing players is worth 0. So you'll buy and sell on how you think they will perform, and the dollar amount is based on the percentage chance that the market thinks that they're going to win. So go check it out over on fantasytft.com. But we do have that interview with Chalky coming up, so don't go anywhere because mid-set finale will continue, well, at least in interview form after this. Welcome back to the Dragonlands mid-set finale. We have just finished up day number 1. I am Casanova, joined by Bryce and Frodan, and also we're bringing in our highest point scorer of day 1, Chalky. Chalky, how did this meet your expectations coming into day 1 to beat 39 points, 4 over the next highest score?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it definitely exceeded expectations. Can't really come in expecting to get first overall, but yeah, it's great when, you know, things go your way, and this can happen.
Yeah, so Chalky, you and I have known each other for quite some time. Actually coming up on a decade pretty soon, which is pretty wild. What brought you to start competing in TFT? You're a busy guy. You used to compete a long time ago. I thought you hung up the mouse or the finger, I guess. You've been playing like touchscreen games for a long time. What brought you back to competition and specifically Teamfight Tactics?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing TFT since set 1. This is really the first set I've started competing. Yeah, I mean, does anyone ever really stop competing? You get the itch eventually, and yeah, it seemed like, yeah, having a bunch of fun with TFT, playing a bunch, might as well. You know, I qualified for one of those tournaments like Astral Cup or whatever. I'm like, yeah, why not?
What's your approach? You've been competing in strategy games for pretty much all your life, as a kid in card games and now in TFT. For people who aren't familiar, like what do you think defines the way you approach and how you've been successful at pretty much every game that you set your mind to?
I think I'm very heavily preparation focused, as opposed to just grinding out a bunch of games. I like to source other top players' experiences and look at, you know, what are they succeeding with, what are they failing with, and I find that that's like, if you're looking to win tournaments, that's generally better. Of course, some people just find playing the game more fun, but I actually find it pretty fun to prepare for tournaments in general.
So
that's true. It's
interesting you're talking about preparing with other players. Do you have a kind of a study group or people that you've been, you know, working on your TFT game with, doing VOD reviews, talking about, you know, the meta or lines or things like that?
No, I don't. It's just me. But so, you know, other players, you know, if I keep winning and you wanna hit me up, go ahead.
I love it.
Yeah, it's mostly just watching other players play, watching VODs and stuff. Don't have access to any of the secret inside group info.
So I'm curious then, being a relative outsider, you're a name that not a lot of people were familiar with, except for from Hearthstone. Not a lot of people, you know, TFT focused were familiar with you. You've now done pretty well in a couple of events and had a statement performance here today. How do you think you stack up against the other best players in this field?
Yeah, I think right now, like, objectively, maybe top 10 being generous. I think I believe in my capability, though, and like my cap, kind of, you know, to be very high. Like, I think, you know, someday I could be, you know, in like top 5, top 3, or else, you know, I wouldn't be playing. And I think I can win tournaments, right? I think even with my current skill level, I think I could win this tournament. I could win, you know, the other tournaments I played in. And if I didn't think that, you know, I probably wouldn't be playing.
That's great. I guess the last question is, you have a lot of friends who've always supported your competition along the way. I know, I mean, you were one of the people starting a lot of those, you know, Skype groups back in the day, and now it's returned to Discord. So is there any people that you want to like shout out in terms of like helping you or supporting you and cheering you along the way?
Not anyone in particular, but yeah, my friends and my family are pretty supportive and follow along these things. Like to watch, send messages. My mom ended up watching today. She asked me about it like last week, and I'm like, you know, you wouldn't know what's going on anyway. Like, don't worry about it. I'll just tell you how I did. But I think she watched some today.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
It's always awesome to hear about the family support as well. Shout outs to Chalky's mom. I guess if she's still watching the interview, saw that Chalky has popped off today. But Chalky, thank you so much for talking with us. Congrats on the performance on day 1, and we're excited to see how you do tomorrow and potentially even into day number 3.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. It's always nice hearing from the players, like especially after the pop-off performance. Chalky, of course, though, he's such a veteran that it's like he's so level-headed. It's day 1. He's got a lot more to go. It's a job to do, and it's just started. But it may have just started for him, but day one is just ending for us. So I want to get some final thoughts from the two of you before we head off into day 2 tomorrow. So Bryce, kick us off. Anything you want to say about today headed into day 2?
I think today went about how I would have expected in terms of what people were playing in the meta. There's a very interesting kind of rock, paper, scissors dynamic emerging that it does shift based on what the Mirage is. And I think that the people who performed the best today seem to have strong game plans built around what was really strong in the meta. And then dragons being really strong, I think there's, a heavy amount of when were you in the right dragons for your spot, and when did you hit them, and were you able to stabilize around them. But we saw some really fun play today. I mean, I think that the final lobby was one of my favorites of the day, where it wasn't the standard stuff. It was a Recombobulator Talon 3 board versus a 6 Dragon Mancer Fast 8 Ao Shin board. And, anyone who had that final 2 on their bingo card, good for you, because I sure as heck did not.
Of course. I mean, it's always the crazy stuff that's so much fun as well in TFT that we always get that little taste of that in these tournaments as well. And Dan, same thing for you. Any final thoughts before I close this out for the day?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot, but I'll try to keep it short. I'm just really glad to see a lot of the old guard do very well today. Soju doing well is just really fun to watch, because when Soju's in his element, he made some really tough decisions there. I was watching that wasn't on the main broadcast. I was quite impressed. He has such a strong intuitive grasp on the game because of the sheer volume of time he's put in and being at the top, that it's been really impressive. Milk doing well, Kuramex, Robin songs, right? And then you even have some of these underdogs like Emily Wank and Solus coming in. These people have been involved for a long time, since like set 2, set 1. It's cool to see them come back and maybe give a little bit of reason why people should still believe in them and not just call them TFT influencers by themselves.
And this was Emily on no sleep. Emily, get some sleep.
Yeah. Imagine
this
she
is the
actually
freest first
decided
of
to
your
rest.
life.
Or maybe don't go to bed, actually, because I mean,
Oh,
she was
true,
playing
true.
really well today. She was playing fantastic. Well, anyways.
Definitely go get some sleep. Definitely.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess we'll all be doing that as well, because we got to get up and get ready for Dragonland's mid-set finale, day number 2. That's been it for me and Bryce and Frodan and Admirable and Keen and the rest of the crew. Everyone here on day 1. Be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. PDT, and we'll see you all there. Thanks so much for watching.